Welcome to the deep dive, where we take complex topics and, well, we really dig in to find those surprising nuggets of knowledge, the things that change how you see the world. Today, we're stepping onto the tennis court, but not just to admire the serves or the volleys, We're going deep into the hidden world of what makes a professional tennis player truly successful.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area.
You might think winning is all about, say, raw physical power, or maybe perfect technique. But what if the real game, the deciding factor, is being played somewhere else entirely, like inside the player's head?
Exactly.
We've pulled together some really interesting sources for you today. We've got detailed academic studies looking at player stats, some cutting-edge AI analysis.
Great, the machine learning stuff.
Yeah, and also insights straight from world-class coaches. Plus, we'll touch on some recent analyses of the big rivalries shaping the game now.
It's a good mix. Covered a lot of ground.
Our mission, really, is to unpack what truly gets the player to the top of those ATP rankings. So get ready. We're going to uncover some unexpected factors, look hard at the mental game behind competitive tennis, basically give you a shortcut to understanding the unseen side of elite performance.
That's good. Where should we start? The court itself.
Yeah, let's start right there. The battlefield, so to speak. Tennis is, well, it's unique, isn't it? The structure is so demanding.
Oh, absolutely. You've got matches with no time limit. They can go on for, 5 hours? Sometimes more.
But then the points themselves are incredibly short, like often under 10 seconds.
Right. And you play maybe 160 points, sometimes way more in a match. It's this constant stop-start, sprint-recover rhythm.
So what does that unique format, this blend of marathon and sprint, really do to a player mentally?
Well, it creates this incredibly demanding environment. The scoring system, game by game, point by point.
Yeah.
Momentum can just vanish or appear in an instant. And you're out there completely alone, no coach on court during the match, no teammates to lean on. It's a mental crucible, really tests you.
And get this, here's a stat that really blew my mind, a reality check for you. Even the absolute legends, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, the big three.
The greatest, arguably.
On average, across their entire careers, they only won about 54% of the total points they played. Just 54%.
It sounds low, doesn't it? Yeah. But that narrow margin, it really highlights something critical.
Which is?
Success isn't about steamrolling, winning every single point. It's much more about how you manage the points you lose, how you bounce back, and crucially, how you laser focus on winning the important points.
So that 54% tells us winning isn't guaranteed until the very last shot is hit.
Exactly. It underlines the constant battle.
Wow. Okay, so if even the best are losing nearly half the points, that constant psychological seesaw,
Yeah.
what does that demand from a player's mindset? Let's unpack that.
Yeah, it means mental toughness, MT, as it's often called. It isn't just like a nice to have. It's absolutely fundamental. It's a key psychological factor. It lets athletes reach that next level, sustain high performance over a really long, grinding season. And importantly, it helps reduce the risk of burnout, of mental exhaustion, which is huge in a solo sport like tennis, where there's just nowhere to hide.
And the coaches, the experts we looked at, they seem to agree strongly on this.
Oh, absolutely. We saw Swedish world-class coaches estimating that when players are pretty much equal in skill, an incredible 80 to 90% of whether you win or lose comes down to mentality.
80 to 90%, that's huge.
It is. And even Serena Williams, one of the all-time greats, she stated that mental toughness decides maybe up to 70% of matches.
Those numbers are just staggering. If it's that dominant, does it almost suggest that beyond a certain skill level, physical training becomes less important than mental prep?
Well, it certainly puts a massive emphasis on the mental side. I wouldn't say physical becomes secondary. You need both, but the mental edge becomes decisive.
Okay, so how does this mental toughness actually look on court? How does it manifest?
You see it in a few ways. First, high self-confidence, even when things aren't going perfectly. Second, staying calm under pressure, really calm. And third, courage. Coaches talk about players having a low drop height.
Low drop height, what does that mean?
It means they understand, they accept, that both winning and losing are possible outcomes. They're not terrified of losing.
Ah, I see.
And because they accept that, they can play more freely. They can take calculated risks when needed rather than freezing up.
Is that low drop height something you're born with, or can coaches actually train that acceptance of potential failure?
It's probably a bit of both, some innate predisposition, but it's definitely something you train to reinforce. Coaches work hard on that.
Okay. Any examples of players who really embody this? turning negatives into positives.
Novak Djokovic is a prime example, mentioned often by the coaches. His ability to thrive when the crowd is against him, it's almost uncanny.
We've all seen that, yeah.
He doesn't just do it, he seems to actually use it.
Yeah.
Elevates his game, turns that negative energy into positive drive. He seems to see possibilities where others might feel anxiety building. And crucially, he doesn't hold back in the big moments. He goes for it.
So this mental strength,
Yeah.
how does it translate into specific actions during those really critical points in a match?
Well, first, all the coaches we looked at agree. Certain moments are absolutely critical. They directly swing the outcome. It's not just match point.
Okay, like what?
For instance, the very first point of any game. Statistically, it's surprisingly important for grabbing an early edge, setting the tone.
Right, get ahead early. Makes sense. What about within a game? Are there specific scores that are, extra nervy?
Definitely. Those pressure points, like 15-30 or 30-15, coaches see those as hugely important.
Why those specifically?
Because winning them puts you in a really strong position to get a break. Winning a game when your opponent is serving.
And a break is massive, psychologically.
Huge impact on both players. It can completely shift the feel of the match, the momentum.
So when those critical moments arrive, how do the mentally tough players react? Do they play safer? Or
generally, they don't play safer. They maintain their momentum, they anticipate well, they try to control the point, especially on their own serve. They're often described as being extra aggressive in those key situations.
Extra aggressive? How?
They might dare to hit closer to the lines, really go for depth on their shots, maybe surprise the opponent with a change of pace or direction. Proactive play.
And Djokovic, again, how does he play those points?
He was mentioned for his balanced aggression. Like if an opponent hits hard, he often matches that speed coming back. He plays offensively, but smartly. On break points, often going cross-court, which is typically a higher percentage shot. Calculated aggression.
Okay. But what about the flip side? What happens if a player doesn't have that mental fortitude in those moments? What's the cost?
Well, psychological pressure, the lack of MT, it can physically manifest. Muscle tension is a big one.
Which leads to errors.
Exactly. Numerous unforced errors, especially in those critical moments where mistakes are just decisive. There was a big study that looked at 650,000 Grand Slam points from 2016 to 2019.
Wow. And what did it find?
A really clear link between being in a pressured situation on the scoreboard and making simple mistakes. Easy errors.
And did that affect everyone or just lower-ranked players?
It affected both successful and unsuccessful players, as the study termed them, though some players seemed more susceptible, experiencing what the researchers called mental breakdowns under pressure.
Mental breakdowns. That's intense. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Away from the on-court psychology and drama, what does the cold, hard data tell us? We looked at a big study of ATP players from 2022.
Right, nearly 2,000 male players, over 20,000 data points. A lot of information.
And what's the first big takeaway? Something about the money, right?
Yeah. The prize money reality is pretty stark. Yeah. We think of tennis as this glamorous, high-paying sport, and it is for a tiny elite.
But for most players...
The data showed a massive 87.73% of ATP players in 2022 earn less than the average prize money, which is about $105,000.
Wow, nearly 90% earn less than the average.
Mm-hmm. It really drives home that only a very small percentage at the top can actually make a living just from tournament winnings. It's a tough grind for most professionals.
That's a sobering statistic for anyone dreaming of going pro. What about tournament strategy? Does just playing more events help you climb the rankings?
Interestingly, no. The study found a strong negative link between a player's rank and the points they earned per tournament.
Negative. So playing more doesn't necessarily mean ranking higher.
Right. Playing lots of tournaments just for a few points here and there might give you experience, sure. But the data suggests it's not the winning strategy for actually climbing high in the ATP rankings. It seems to be more about strategic selection, performing well in the right tournaments, quality over quantity.
That makes sense. Less wear and tear, too, maybe. What about physical attributes? The anthropometric factors, as the researchers call them. Does size matter?
Yes, it seems to. Two things stood out in the data. First, age.
Older is better.
Generally, yes, for top positions. Players ranked in the top 100 were, on average, noticeably older than those ranked way down, like above 900. Experience counts.
Okay. And the second factor?
Height. Taller players tend to achieve higher rankings.
How much of an effect?
The study calculated that just a 1 centimeter increase in height correlated with an 11% greater chance of being in the top 100.
11% for 1 centimeter. That's significant.
It really is. The average height for ATP players in the study was about 184 centimeters, just over 6 feet. But only around 44–45% were considered to have an ideal height by the study's metrics.
So that extra reach on the serve, better court coverage, it really adds up at the elite level. It's not just about skill. These physical edges matter.
Absolutely. It's another layer of advancement.
Okay, so physically, being older and taller helps. What about actual game stats? When you break down the match data, what parts of the game predict success the most?
The serve, overwhelmingly.
Really? More than anything else?
Yes. Service-related stats, things like percentage of first serve points won, break points saved on your own serve, percentage of service games won, total service points won. These consistently explain the biggest chunk of the variation in ATP rankings.
So holding serve is paramount in modern men's tennis.
Hugely important. The data makes that crystal clear. Now, return game stats matter too, but less consistently.
Any specific return stat stand out?
Total points won was a strong predictor. It showed a clear trend. The higher a player was ranked, the greater percentage of total points they won overall, serve and return combined.
Right, which loops back to that 54% figure for the very top guys. They win slightly more overall.
Exactly. And it's fascinating, isn't it, how this hard data often confirms what coaches observe anecdotally about the importance of the serve or those critical points, but it also lays bare those tough economic realities.
Yeah, it connects the dots. Now, with all this complex data, all these variables, are we seeing technology step in to help make sense of it all? What about AI?
Yes, the study we looked at did exactly that. They used artificial intelligence, specifically neural networks, or NNs, to try and predict ATP rankings based on all these factors.
And how did the AI do?
Pretty well, actually. The NN models showed significant potential, especially for predicting whether a player would be in the top 500.
Top 500, okay. How accurate?
The best model they developed, using all the variables, stats, age, height, everything, achieved 96.8% accuracy in predicting that top 500 status.
96.8%. That's incredibly accurate. Better than previous attempts.
Yes, the study indicated it showed superior predictive power compared to older models used in sports science.
So does this mean AI could soon tell us exactly who's going to be the next big star, or identify weaknesses with pinpoint accuracy?
It's moving in that direction. That level of accuracy means AI can be a powerful tool for coaches, for scouts, maybe highlighting patterns or potential ceilings that a human might miss. It's data-driven strategy getting more sophisticated.
Is AI going to replace the coaches then?
I don't think so. And the study was clear about this too. They emphasized that AI is a powerful, supportive tool for decision-making.
Supportive, not replacement.
Exactly. You still need experienced humans, coaches, analysts, to interpret the AI's output, consider the context, make the final calls. It augments human insight. It doesn't replace it. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've established mental toughness is critical. The data shows what predicts success. But that big question remains, can mental toughness actually be taught? Or are some players just naturally mentally stronger?
The coaches interviewed for our sources were unanimous on this.
Yeah.
Every single one agreed. Mental toughness absolutely can be trained.
Unanimous. Okay, that's definitive.
Yes. They see it as a skill, just like developing a better backhand or a faster serve. It takes work, but it's trainable.
That's really encouraging, not just for tennis players, but for anyone in a high-pressure field. So how do they train it? What are the methods?
There are a few key things that came up repeatedly. First, solid preparation.
In what sense?
Quality physical training, quality tennis practice. That built a foundation of confidence and calmness, knowing you're physically ready. Also, preparing for different scenarios, having a plan B, even a plan C, so you don't panic if plan A isn't working.
Right, building that toolbox. What else?
Body language. Coaches actively work on this with players, on court, off court.
Why is body language so important?
Because positive body language, head up, shoulders back, projecting confidence even if you don't feel it, it can actually influence your actions in a positive way. And it affects how you feel after playing, too. Fake it till you make it, to some extent.
Interesting. Any other training techniques?
Yes, and this one might sound a bit counterintuitive. Teaching players how to fail.
How to fail? You mean practicing losing?
Sort of.
Yeah.
It means not always giving them second chances in practice drills. If you miss a shot, you miss the shot, point over, move on.
Mirroring the reality of a match. No do-overs.
Exactly. It helps them learn to deal with that immediate consequence. That psychological pressure of knowing a mistake is costly. It helps reduce those unforced errors when the real pressure hits.
So they're building resilience by experiencing and processing failure in a controlled environment. That's smart. Tough, but smart.
Very much so. It connects directly back to handling those critical points we talked about.
Yeah.
It shows the mental game isn't just some innate gift. It's a skill honed through really specific disciplined practice.
Okay, let's bring this into the present day. We've talked theory, data, psychology. How does this play out in the current men's game? There's a lot of talk about a new rivalry taking shape.
Yeah, the Alcaraz-Sinner rivalry. Many people see them as the natural heirs to the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic era, the big three.
And what's interesting about their rivalry?
Well, despite the intensity on court, there seems to be this really impressive mutual respect between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Genuine admiration, by all accounts.
That's refreshing.
It is, and their styles are quite different, too. It's been called a fire and ice dynamic sometimes. Alcaraz may be the fiery, explosive one. Sinner the cooler, more relentless presence. It makes for compelling viewing.
And we saw that dynamic clash spectacularly just recently, right? At Wimbledon.
It certainly did. A fantastic final.
Tell us about that. It felt significant.
It was. Jannik Sinner defeated Alcaraz. And in doing so, he snapped some incredible streaks Alcaraz had going.
Like what?
A 24-match overall win streak, I believe.
Yeah.
A 20-match streak specifically at Wimbledon. And Alcaraz had actually beaten Sinner the last 5 times they played. Sinner broke all those streaks.
Wow. That must have taken immense mental strength from Sinner.
Absolutely. Especially considering he'd lost a really tough French Open final just 5 weeks before. To bounce back from that disappointment and win Wimbledon against the defending champion, that's a masterclass in mental fortitude, in resilience.
It really revitalized their rivalry, didn't it? Showed it's going to be a real battle at the top.
Definitely. Sets the stage for the future.
So this blend of data showing what works, the deep understanding of psychology and mental training, and then seeing it play out in these intense rivalries. What does it all mean for the future of competitive excellence, not just in tennis, but maybe more broadly?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Right. So wrapping up our deep dive today, we've really gone beyond just the serves and volleys, haven't we? It's clear that success at the absolute elite level of tennis isn't just one thing. It's this complex mix. Physical skill, yes, of course. Strategic thinking, definitely. But critically, underpinning it all is this incredibly strong, almost unyielding mental fortitude.
Yeah, from understanding the harsh realities of prize money to knowing the precise statistical value of those pressure points.
And to seeing how physical factors like height give an edge and how AI is starting to analyze it all.
It shows there's so much more going into making a champion than you might see just watching a match.
And as you said earlier, this isn't really just about tennis, is it?
Not at all. These are universal principles. High performance in almost any field, especially competitive ones.
Yeah.
It involves managing pressure, learning from your setbacks, thinking strategically about where to focus your energy. It applies everywhere.
So the final thought for you, listening. What does this all mean for you? If we accept that elite tennis success hinges not just on winning points, but on winning the right points, the crucial ones, and on maintaining that mental calm through all the inevitable stumbles and losses, well, think about your own life, your own goals. What are the pressure points in your pursuits? Where could developing a more strategic mindset or consciously training your own resilience make the biggest difference? Something to think about.